Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the 2020 podcast, Canada's #1 optometry podcast. I am your host, Dr. Harbir Sian. Thank you, as always, guys, for taking the time to join me here to learn and to grow. We are at Vision Expo in sunny Orlando, Florida. It's an amazing time. This is actually my first time in Orlando for Vision Expo, and it's been awesome. The show's been great. So I want to say a big thank you to Vision Expo, the Vision Council, for giving us the space where we're recording. If you're not watching, check us out on YouTube. We look pretty good. I want you to see that. So I have two of my great friends, amazing ODs here with me that I've wanted to bring on for a while because I really want them to share their perspectives. Two of the tallest, best looking, best dressed guys in the industry, Dr. Kulvir Singh and Dr. Shaminder Dhaliwal, the tie clip eye doc and the dapper eye doc, of course, in the flesh. We're gonna do a little bit of off the cuff. We have a rough guideline on what we're gonna talk about, and this conversation is gonna be mostly geared towards young ODs out there who are trying to build their careers, whether you're trying to build your business or whether you're trying to build your expertise in a certain space. We're gonna talk about some of those things. But honestly, even if you've been practicing for 20 years, I know that you're gonna take something out of this, even if it's the fact that we all wear nice suits. Whatever it is, you're gonna get something out of this conversation that I know you're gonna enjoy, and it's gonna help us all grow together. So, boys, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having us.
All right, we only have one mic, so Shaminder, make sure you share it with Kulvir, please. Why don't you give me a 2-minute snippet of who you are and what you do?
My name is Shaminder Dhaliwal. I'm born and raised in Winnipeg, Manitoba. That's my hometown.
I'm sorry.
I know everyone says that, but you know what? There's worse places you could be. Now I reside in Edmonton, Alberta. I went to school at the Illinois College of Optometry. No, that was the best decision of my life. And then after that, I went back to Winnipeg, practiced my hometown.
ICO people are gonna hate me now.
I know.
ICO is great.
It's okay. So he's not that bad as well. Yeah. Then went back home, practiced in Winnipeg, Manitoba for a little while, and then picked up and moved to Edmonton during the start of COVID, which was obviously chaotic as well too. And now I've been there for 5 years, and I'm a private practice owner. And yeah, I'll leave it at that.
My name is Dr. Kulvir Singh. I grew up just outside of Toronto in Mississauga, and I practice in the GTA now as well, and a little bit further out as well. I also went to ICO, go ICO. I graduated a year ahead of Shaminder. I'm also not the shortest. Shaminder's the shortest. I want to know that.
Can't tell when we're sitting though. Yeah. He's actually
we'll stand up.
His
in a
hair
little bit.
puts him like an inch above.
Yeah, it's just the hair. So currently I do a lot of dry eye, so that's my specialty at this point in time. I really want to get into that. Yeah. I feel like that's going to be the future of optometry to a very high degree as well. Yeah. And I'm also involved with the provincial board, so I'm on the board. I'm board director right now, so have a piece to play in moving the profession forward. So that's a big passion of mine at this point in time.
Yeah, I love that. And I know you're really busy with a lot of that board stuff. And so that's an important thing. I think we'll kind of discuss as part of this conversation for younger ODs out there who want to have more of a footprint in the industry, in our profession, actually, even more so. Share a little bit about why it's been beneficial to be part of the association, and why you would encourage some of our colleagues to look into that as well.
So if we're not moving forward, we're going to actually be moving backwards. There's always going to be other forces moving us backwards, trying to take a piece of what we're trying to do as well. So basically, we want to be progressing forward at all points in time. And the only way to do that is to advocate. So it's always important to get involved, kind of see what is going on behind the scenes or even on the scene, and kind of know exactly what's going on in the space. Yeah. How I started was I basically did some committee work first, some volunteer work first, kind of see what it's about. Because it is a big time commitment as well. So now being on the other side, being a board director, you get to be in some conversations, kind of really push what we want to do as a profession forward, and just for the benefit for everybody. So we can push something forward here, it'll affect things other side of the country, in the US, and those kind of things as well. We just want to do better for everybody.
I love what he said of, if we're not moving forward, we're moving backwards, which I think a message to young ODs as well is, when you're in school, you don't realize, and I'm speaking on Canada, I don't know as much about the States perspective, but you don't realize that politics plays a role in our profession. And at the end of the day, those individuals are trying to learn about why they need us and what we provide to our fellow citizens, right? And if we are there expressing what we can provide, then we're always going to be a back burner item. Right. And I think it's important for young ODs to understand that some people that don't like politics, it sucks that it plays a role, but it plays a role in how we can practice and what we can provide. And individuals like Kulvir wanting to push that forward is so critical for the future and the success of where we can take our profession, what we can provide, and ultimately live a better life for every individual that we provide service to.
Right, it always comes down to the patient as well, but ultimately we want to be looking at how we're going to grow our profession over the long term. Like you said, if we're not pushing forward, it's not going to actually stay stable, it's going to shrink, it's going to contract. Let's have Shaminder talk a little bit about business ownership. So let's say you have a young OD in front of you, 2-3 years out of school, thinking about owning a business. This is a big question now, you have to try your best to shrink down the answer a little bit, but would you encourage them to get into business ownership? Okay, and then B, what steps would you encourage them to take initially as far as research and things like that to make sure it's the right step?
Firstly, the beauty of our profession is that we have so many different ways you can excel. You know, if you want to be in business ownership, you can. But if you don't want that stuff, you just want to see patients and go home and you're happy with that life because you have low stress afterwards, and I love that about a profession, you can be very successful doing that too. Right? If you want to go into a different modality, if you want to do work with industry and not be at events like this and not see patients, you have pathways through that as well, and you can be successful. Doing one over the other is not a right versus wrong or higher or lower. I think that's something I want to get out there first, because to young ODs, you know, I think sometimes in school and by nature of, I don't want to say external pressure, people always ask the question, why don't you start a business? Why don't you start a business? And that's fair to ask, but the answer of saying, no, that's not for me is not a wrong answer. Right. With that being said, I would not change anything that I do about my career and where I am in my path of being in a ownership position, because it's allowed me to fulfill what I want with my career. And I think that's a question that young OD should ask, is what do they want from their career? Right. What is that they see themselves doing? And what makes them happy at the end of the day? Because at the end of the day, it is not for everybody. Right. There is so many aspects that even for me along this journey, now being in ownership position entering my 6th year of it, there's so much that I didn't know going into this, right? And I think
and so much that you don't know still.
Exactly. Every day you're learning. I will guarantee being at Vision Expo here, I'll pick up something in a conversation, at the floor, at some moment here during the next couple of days that I will take back and implement or apply to my business, because I had no idea about that.
I'm a newbie. I'm looking into getting into business. What do you think I should do to figure out if it's right for me? Yeah.
So if you're a student, please attend networking events. Talk to people that you have questions about in terms of, because you see the life that they have or the way they're working, and you might want that. Go and have a coffee with them. Shadowing is, I think that's fine to learn about patient care, but don't go shadow. Sit down, have a coffee, ask questions, and attend events like this. I got my ability to have a business partner because of a networking event I went to when I was in 2nd year. And I almost didn't go to that event that day because I had an exam and I had pulled an all-nighter and I wanted to sleep, but I put my pants on, put my shirt on, went, and I met my business partner that day. That's good. Yes, I did. They probably were not ironed. But.
Give a shout out to Dr. Nana Owusu, legend.
Absolutely. Amazing. So my business partner Nana, I met him at the practice symposium at ICO, and after that, carry the conversation forward. So step one is networking if you're a student. If you are an OD already practicing, the one thing everybody says is, oh, you know, I'm waiting for the right time, the right opportunity. Yeah. Listen, I moved provinces during a pandemic, had no idea what I was doing, and just opened in October 2020. And then everything shut down 2 weeks later again. So there is no perfect time. If something comes to your doorstep and you think that this is something you want to try, do your research, do your homework. There's better and not as good opportunities, but you just kind of have to take the leap of faith and just be ready to put energy into it, because energy consumption for this is necessary. And if you have the passion, put your passion into it and everything will work out. And again, even then, continue to have conversations with practicing ODs while you're doing it, because we still love to share. I think people think that we're kind of gatekeep stuff from each other. That is, I think, the complete opposite. We love to share and see others grow.
Kulvir, you're really leaning into the dry eye specialty. You're becoming an expert. If you're not already an expert in this space, you know about all the latest and greatest technology, all the latest and greatest treatments, even the ones that are not even available in Canada right now. You're on top of all of it. You're getting involved in ad boards and all these things. Tell us, you know, again, speaking to a new or recent grad, somebody who wants to become somewhat of an expert, whether it's dry eye or myopia or whatever, what steps did you take, early steps, to kind of get to where you are now?
I think one of the biggest things is lean on other people's mistakes, because you can take forever to make your own mistakes, but it's way quicker to learn from someone that's already made the mistake and tells you, hey, like, this is what I did wrong and I wish I didn't, but now you have that experience all at once. For example, I'll piggyback off Shaminder. Networking is huge.
Yeah.
So every time I went to a conference, there's a lot of times I didn't know anyone at all, but
You would just go without knowing anybody.
I would just go.
That's
and,
awesome.
What I would do is
And you wore pants.
I wore pants.
Good.
Yeah, I definitely wore pants and the tie clip. So essentially, I would go to conferences. I wouldn't know anybody at all. And one thing I made it a mission was who are the big people that are going to be at this conference? And I'm just going to have a 10-minute conversation with them. I don't care if I'm going to come off as annoying. The worst they can say is no, but just ask them anything that they can just provide you and be like, hey, I want to get into this space. Like, what would you recommend? And the things that you'll pick up are amazing. And as well for conferences, the term hallway CE is one of the best
Always CE, absolutely.
best things you can take away from this.
Yeah.
The stuff you learn in the hallway between CE lectures is going to be the most value you will learn.
Hallway CE, and then the next step is I call barstool CE.
Barstool CE as well, yeah.
That's the next level.
But yeah, just start talking to people that are in the industry and see what kind of mistakes they've made and kind of get their advice. You'll find that nobody does it the same way. Every single person that you talk to, whether it's a dry eye space, contact lenses, AMD, whatever, glaucoma, everyone does it a different way. And you got to figure out what your lane's going to be and where you kind of resonate, where you agree with, and kind of see how does that impact your day-to-day practice as well, because you can't afford all the fancy machines right off the bat. So kind of see, like, where do I start with, whether it's just fluorescein, just staining, just doing expressions with your thumb,
right,
really, really quickly, just little things. And the biggest thing I think for dry eyes is that if you don't look for it, you won't find it. So doing these 5-second things in the exam room, like just doing an expression, that will give you so much information.
So true. I find it's very interesting that you guys both had the same answer as far as how did you get started, or how would you recommend somebody get started, whether it's business ownership or becoming an expert or developing a specialty. It started with networking and talking to people. And that's not usually what you would think of at first. It's like, I got to read a book, or I got to take a course, right? Yeah. I got to get hands-on with this. But it's actually like sharing of knowledge, and the in-person connection is the most important thing.
And I think they try to preach that a little bit in school, but as a student, you're so focused on one thing, and that's getting through your work, right?
Yeah.
And at least for me, they didn't. I didn't really take advantage of it till I think close to the end of second year, almost third years, when I really started doing it. But you're right. It is such a huge thing that comes down to the beginning steps. And like he said, I wanted to say, whether it's for dry eye, whether it's for business, whether it's just for anything personally outside of the optometry world, what did he say? Just start, right? Like, just pick up something small and start. You don't have to, for the business side of it, get up space, build it out, put the fanciest toys in there. Like, just go have that conversation with somebody, or, maybe if you're an associate somewhere, start adding your own niche or your own personality to your eye exam, right? Whether that's with a dry eyes testing that you want to get into, specialty contact lenses on the more clinical side, or whether it's, hey, you know what, I want to add some personality to my eye exam. How can I differentiate myself? How can I just start creating my vision for my practice, a specialty, or as a business owner right now? Just take the step little by little, and you'll gain that confidence to take the bigger steps along the way.
Yeah, absolutely. Just get started. There's a Tony Robbins thing where he says, like, the number one step is just take action. You don't even know what direction. He's like, throw a stone and just go that way. Take some sort of action, and then you start to learn from your actions, right? So even, obviously you're going to make mistakes. I think people are afraid of making mistakes, but mistakes are part of learning. Then the next thing he says is to limit your mistakes, is to learn from other people's mistakes, is what you just said. So you've been reading Tony Robbins, I think.
Yeah, no, I mean, what they say, right? Make a mistake, but just don't make it twice. Right? Try not to. The third time is where I think it really stops. Yeah. But even to the starting stuff, for example, I'll give a personal story. Is when I did start my social media page, I made it and actually kept it a secret. I didn't tell my friends. I didn't tell anybody.
Yeah.
And then my friends, because I was shy, I guess, to start that. And then my friends found it, and then I kind of went silent on it again. And I said this story in a different podcast before, is that I think it stems from when I was making YouTube videos as a kid for tech stuff. My friends found it, and then they made fun of me for it, so I stopped.
Yeah.
And I think that don't be afraid, just go. Even if you want to go in silence, that's fine, right? But just try at the end of the day.
I don't look at the mistakes; they're learning opportunities.
I like that.
Every single time there's a mistake, is something to learn from, and that's you're growing. Every time you do that, there's something to grow from.
Right. There's no losing. There's winning and learning is essentially the two outcomes. I like that. I want to talk about industry involvement, building your presence in the industry, starting to collaborate with industry. I don't personally like the word influencer, but this part of what we're doing here is like working with Vision Expo as influencers. But I think becoming a person of influence is really what I strive for. And I think you guys are definitely doing that as well. So tell me from both of your perspectives, whoever wants to go first, what have you done to get involved in the industry, and then how have you found it beneficial?
Okay, so as far as it's networking is the biggest thing. Is the more times you meet somebody, the more they're gonna remember you, and the more you have a personal brand.
Networking with specifically like companies and people within the company. So now we're not talking about other ODs, but like your reps.
Yes. So you say it all the time that you used to run away from your reps, and now you hug them.
Yeah.
I think it's so important. It's so important that you got to realize these reps, they may be trying to sell you something, but at the end of the day, you both have the same goal. You both want either better outcomes for the patient, better treatment for the patient, better vision, whatever it may be. You both have the same end goal. It's always good to kind of hear them out and kind of see where that goes. And then you may find something that resonates with you and where it may impact, where you find that may impact your patients and those kind of things as well. But building those relationships are so key. So the more you kind of talk to them, you kind of see that they're not just people that are trying to sell you things, they're people as well. And then you got to see what resonates with you. And I agree with you, people of influence rather than influencers, because at the end of the day, I never want to promote something that I don't believe in. People love authenticity. Your patients will know if you're not being authentic with them. Yeah. And if you try to push something that you don't even believe in yourself, it's not going to work. So
100%.
Authenticity is like the number one goal when
authenticity is key. I like that. So what would you say is the one biggest win or advantage or takeaway that you've achieved from becoming more involved with the industry, becoming a person of influence?
You can kind of see the trends that are going to start to happen before they start to happen. So being ahead of the curve is really, really key. So when you kind of go to conferences like in the States where we're all Canadian, is that you kind of know what drops are on the market, what treatments are coming. But also sometimes with like ad boards and those kind of things as well, you may get access to product beforehand and be able to test it before the entire market gets to test it. And then that may involve samples where you can apply to patients where you think may do really, really well. And you kind of get an idea of, is this going to work well for my patient base before you even have to commit to buy something as well. So they get the information, the data, and it's collaborative. Everybody wins.
That's great. Shaminder, same question to you. How have you gotten more involved in the industry and built that presence? And then what has the one big advantage been, do you feel like, for you personally?
Yeah, I think getting involved with the industry, there's multiple ways you could do it. So I think you can do things kind of, saying behind closed doors sounds sketchy, but what I mean by that is you can still be involved with industry and not be in the public space with it. Sure. Then for myself, I'm in the public space. I enjoy the social media aspect of it, of working with industry and like we're doing right now, or attending things and being more vocal about that stuff. Because it's not for everybody in that direction. That's fine. Again, everyone's personalities are different and you're meant to do things differently. That's how we all work together. But I think the big thing of working with industry is he's right that you both have the same goals, but you're doing it side by side and finding a way in which you can utilize your platform, for example, creates other opportunities, right? So with industry, and I guess I'll tie it back to the social media stuff, there's been opportunities that have come up for patient care, for things I can provide for my patients. And then just for me on the other side of my passion with our career in, educating and having conversations with the future of our profession or with industry as well, that I would never have had if I didn't put myself out there, 100%. Right?
Yeah.
Attending events like this is a great step for that. Even being involved with your own profession at your provincial level, I think doing this social media stuff or just being involved with industry opens doors you didn't know existed, or shows you things that were happening that you had no idea were happening. And so having those conversations with those industry individuals is what allows that to happen as well, right? So I think that the biggest thing is there's so many opportunities out there in a profession that you don't even know about yet.
That is so true.
Like
man.
so many different avenues.
So many, and that's actually one of the beauties. You're saying one of the things that you love is that you could practice in different modalities, but the other thing is that you can just make a career from doing so many different things. You could work in industry, like you could work for a company as an OD, right, as a liaison or medical advisor or whatever. But you can generate revenue and actually generate some sort of an income by doing other things, whether it's ad boards or social media or podcasting. Like there's only just like huge sphere of things around the core of just practicing as an optometrist. So much other stuff that you can do. So I think that's so true.
I had no idea of that going into this school. Like I had zero idea there was anything outside of patient care, right? And there's obviously new avenues that have evolved in the last decade, podcasting I think being one of them. And if it's something that you enjoy, go for it. And if you have an idea that you don't even think exists yet, throw it out to someone. Industry is so locked in with each other that they might know somebody that can help you create this 100%. Brand new idea that doesn't even exist today. Right. I'm sure there'll be something that someone's watching this 10 years from now was like, oh, I had this idea 10 years ago and it doesn't exist right now, but there'll be a new way to create revenue for your career that we don't even know about today.
Well, I mean, which earlier we ran into Fayez, right? Dr. Fayez Magoub, he's created his own, invented his own insertion removal tool for sclerals and actually soft contacts. I learned today. I want to give him a shout out because he's one of those doctors who, he's an optometrist, he practiced an optometrist, but now I don't think he's seeing patients anymore, right? But he's all leaned into his technology that he developed and also partnering in industry. Like, it's so cool to see that. There are all these opportunities.
Yeah, just go for it. And as much as I hate this term, it is a reality. That's why I think being involved with industry is important for us. It's not what you know, it's who you know. And that's not 100% accurate, but it has a lot of influence because those people that you know can lead to opportunities that, like I said, you didn't know existed or brand new ones that you can help create. And I think the beauty of our profession is that it's so unique where we have such big industry partners that we work with. I don't think very many other professions have that sort of service, but industry side versus we do. And then I think the important thing is industry is so willing to listen. And I think that sometimes gets not known, or people feel it's not that way, right? Or underappreciated, that they don't want to listen to you. That they ultimately are like trying to force you to do one thing, but they are open to creative ideas and they are open to working with you and not just dictating the terms. Yeah. I think people have a perception that stay away. Right. We want to avoid them. I don't think that's the case at all.
Like Kulvir said, I always joke, I used to run from my reps and now I hug my reps, but I do want to give a shout out to not anybody in particular by name right now, but if they happen to be listening, I think they'll know who they are. But those industry partners who do actively support us as clinicians, as practice owners, the podcast and these types of initiatives, those organizations are doing such a massive service to the profession as a whole, and they understand that you grow the pie, right? When you do something like that, you grow the entire pie, not just looking at it myopically or short-sightedly, where I'm going to just help try to grow my slice by helping this one individual or help just grow my side of the business. Those industry partners that are helping us grow overall, big thank you to them because they've supported us. All three of us have had the support from different partners throughout our careers already. And we want to keep encouraging that. And they'll see when they have more and more positive interactions with, whoever's listening to this and other colleagues out there, they're going to keep interacting more and more. It's going to be this positive cycle, right? So I appreciate that positive feedback. And I encourage anybody out there, if you want to get more involved, whether it's to be an influencer or if it's just to be more involved in industry or be in ad boards, like Kulvir said, like Shaminder said, just get involved, have conversations with them, make sure you shake hands when they come to the office. Even as an associate doctor, it doesn't just have to be the owners, right? Just get out there. If you see somebody's there, contact lens rep, dry eye rep, whatever it is, go out, say hello, introduce yourself, let them know you have interest in it. I think that's going to help all of us. Everybody as a collective, but you as the individual who wants to grow your personal, your brand, your career, it's going to be really beneficial. Okay, we're going to wrap it up with 2 questions. Number 1, where do you get your suits? Okay, we all like to wear suits. So question number 1 is to you. Where is your suit from?
Same guy you get your suits from. Singh Styles. If you're ever in BC, it's a Surrey? Surrey, yeah. Amazing guy, great personality, but he'll takes his time. He'll good conversation at the same time, do measurements, but his fashion sense is out of this world. I think he's been doing it for 10 years or something. for a long period of time. But yeah, shout out. If ever in the Surrey area, go ahead and go see Singh Styles.
So Singh Styles is fantastic. I have my wedding reception suit was made by him, and I picked him on purpose because he does such a fantastic job.
Yeah.
But I do live in Edmonton, Alberta, so it does make it a little bit difficult for me to get out there sometimes, even though I wish I would love to visit you.
Yeah.
So
I wouldn't mind that.
I'll give a shout out to my boy Dave with Concept Culture. Fantastic. I mean, this is a brand new piece that we just got here.
Looking good.
Double pinstripe with the peak lapel. Fantastic. I mean, I can't complain. I got to give a shout out to my boy Dave.
I wanted to make sure that we did that too, right? Because I know you get your suits from somebody else, and you did before get Singh Styles. And yes, mine are almost every suit I wear. If you see me wear one, it's from campaigns at Singh Styles as well. That was kind of a lighthearted question. The last question I want to end up with is, I know I'm kind of putting you on the spot, but share with me one impactful quote or piece of advice either somebody gave you or you read. If you can think of something like off the top of your head that you would share that you think that somebody listening to this is going to say, that's going to motivate me to do something.
We're going to watch a Lakers game on Saturday. So this is a shout out to Kobe as well. So Kobe, I'm a big NBA fan. So Kobe's said a lot of things. And I think the most famous ones are the game's not finished. The game's not finished.
Right.
But essentially for me is one of his other interviews where he's like, I don't negotiate with myself.
I like that one. Yeah.
Essentially, anytime I set a goal, I'm not going to say, I'll do it later. I don't feel good. I don't like, just like you go to the gym almost every day, Shaminder, because you don't negotiate with yourself. I've seen my parents work super hard. I've seen that kind of culture, that grind culture and everything. And I strongly believe that if you work so hard at something, it's impossible to fail. If you keep setting yourself up for success, you will be successful at some point in time.
Listen, I got to give one to King James. So I'll give one, but I'll just tell you the one from King James that is really good because I can't let him just have the basketball one only, especially because I'm hoping we see him on Saturday and he plays. When he won the championship, he said, I always ask why the man above give me the hardest road. But he knows that the man above doesn't put him in front of something that he can't handle. And I thought that was great when he won that quote, because of what it means is that, you know, you think that we have these struggles, or you wish you're comparing yourself so much to other people. And I think the one thing that is, that's a great segue to my second quote actually, is I think something in the beginning of starting a business especially is comparison is a thief of joy. And you lose the joy of the process. Never lose the joy of the process along the way, because you will be better than you were last year, last month. And we're so focused all the time on where we want to be that we forget sometimes where we are. And I don't know, in the last year I've been really reflective on that. And even in the last 3 months, more so than ever before, because I think it's important. And that allows you to be, I think, successful, because you always convince yourself you're not successful. And if you don't enjoy that process, you never will be.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. You know, I wasn't going to share one, but since you're talking about thief of joy and enjoying the process, it reminded me of a quote I've shared on the podcast before. And it was, you know, a lot of times we're all working on climbing the mountain, and we're trying to get to the mountaintop, and we think all of the things that we're looking for are at the mountaintop. All of the joy and all of the wisdom and all of the fulfillment is at the top, but actually the fulfillment is coming along the way, right? So all of the wisdom that you were expecting at the mountaintop, you're actually collecting along the way. So if you don't enjoy the process, if you don't really enjoy all of those steps, the hardships and everything that comes with it, when you get to the top, you're not going to have any of the fulfillment. If your goal was just to get there and not enjoy what was around you, when you get to the top, you won't have the wisdom, the fulfillment, the joy. So you've got to take all of that in. The only fulfillment you'll find at the top of the mountain is the fulfillment that you brought with you along the way. That's the quote I want to share.
I was very fortunate, very blessed with the opportunity.
Nice hair.
That as well. Thanks, Mom and Dad. Very fortunate, very blessed to have the choice between NECO and ICO. And I chose ICO because it's the best school. I'll leave it at that.
Cut. With the interview already ended. That was just, he stopped recording. I'm just kidding. All right, it's all good. No, I love that there's school spirit and pride for your alma mater. Obviously, I'm a NECO graduate. I have a lot of pride for my alma mater, NECO. So it's nice to know. Honestly, I appreciate that you like where you went to school. You had a good experience there and you still rep it. I know you go back. Have you been back?
Hopefully soon.
To speak, you're going to go back to, you know, it's like it's nice to go back and to give back now to the students there. I've had the opportunity to do that with Neko now as well. So that's great, man. No hard feelings, no hard feelings.
Never. Neko is great as well too.
Yeah,
you just always have a pride for yourself.
That's it. Thank you, boys. I appreciate it, guys. Dr. Kulvir Singh, the Tie Clip Eye Doc, Dr. Shaminder Dhaliwal, the Dapper Eye Doc. Appreciate you guys being on here, for sharing all your wisdom. And thank you to everybody, as always, for listening and watching the 2020 podcast, Canada's #1 optometry podcast. I'll see you guys in the next episode.